For many, a day at the races is more than just watching a sport. It's a day out with family, laughter in the air. Each time the cars flew past, the stands shook, and so did everyone's heart. A festival of speed, a celebration of machines, and the brave souls who dare to tame them. Such was the mood on June 11, 1955. What should have been an afternoon of wonder became the darkest chapter in motorsport. In a split second, joy turned to silence, smoke and fire. More than 80 lives lost, hundreds injured, and one manufacturer so shaken, so scarred, they walked away. Mercedes, the company that gave the world its first car, that symbolized progress itself, disappeared from international racing. Rival teams wrote chapters of their racing glory. Ferrari dominated both Formula One and endurance racing. Jaguar conquered Le Mans through the 50s. Decades later, Porsche became the undisputed king of endurance. While the three-pointer star lingered as a ghost, carrying the weight of that one day. Mercedes kept a low profile, quietly nurturing their racing spirit through rallies and touring car events, never stepping too far into the spotlight. For nearly 3 decades, they watched from the sidelines, the fire still alive, but contained. Until one day, the thought returned, maybe it's time. Time to rejoin the league they once helped define. But that did not come easy. The world wasn't the same. It was like coming back to an old classroom where everything looked familiar, yet nothing felt the same. The old rivals had become legends, the rules had changed, and Mercedes, once the brightest student, had to start over. They couldn't just walk back in. They had to learn again, adapt, prove they still belonged in a game that had rewritten its own rules. But how will they get back in this competitive world again? The answer lied in the quiet valleys of Switzerland. Far away from the glamour of Formula One and the roaring clouds of Le Mans, one man was building something extraordinary in his own garage. From that humble garage, a journey began. One that would slowly, quietly draw the attention of a sleeping giant. Who would have thought that a man building race cars in Switzerland would one day bring Mercedes back to the world they had once abandoned? Peter Sauber came from a quiet town in Switzerland called Hinwil. In Hinwil, the loudest sound was the wind in the trees, until he decided to build a race car. He didn't have a factory or millions in funding. What he had was passion and a belief that precision and perseverance could outpace power. His workshop was just a small basement where the smell of oil and steel mixed with the sound of hope. In 1970, he built his first car, the Sauber C1, which was named after his wife Christine. It was light, pure, and born entirely from passion. And that passion drove him year after year. Sauber built new machines, C2, C3, C4, each one better than the other, but still far from a dream to become a constructor. Until the C5. The car made a leap from hill climbs to Le Mans. This was the first real international step. The C5, powered by a 2-liter BMW inline 4, entered Le Mans and finished first in its class, 11th overall. That put Sauber on the international map. It wasn't just a Swiss privateer anymore. However, passion alone couldn't match the factory giants. By mid-80s, the world of motorsport had changed. Group C had arrived, a new era of power, speed and precision dominated by giants like Porsche and Jaguar. Sauber took the biggest leap of their career. They entered with C6 in 1982, their first closed monocoque aluminum chassis with a 3.9-liter V8 Ford Cosworth engine. Their dreams were up against the big teams. For a small privateer, it was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. Engines were too weak and uncompetitive. Despite limitations, C6 managed to turn few heads when they finished 1,000 kilometers of Nürburgring. In search of more power, Sauber switched to a 3.5-litre inline-six BMW engine for their new challenger, the C7, in 1983, which turns out to be a version used in the M1 Pro car also. The story repeated. The results reminded them how fine the line between ambition and reality could be. The chassis-engine pairing was not harmonious. It was as if the chassis was the mind and the engine the heart. The mind knew what it wanted, but the heart couldn't keep up. Both were fighting the same battle, just not on the same side. To go any further, determination alone wouldn't cut it. Peter needed power and the right partners. So instead of giving up, he did something far braver. Sauber stepped back in 1984, not in defeat, but in reflection. It was time to rethink, to rebuild, and to find a way to survive and thrive. It was not just the silence of engines for a year. It was a search for new allies. Amidst the silence, a calling grew, a calling for the thrill of the track, the roar of the crowd, the chase for greatness. Mercedes longed not just to remember those days, but to live them again. The world had changed. A new generation had taken the stage. But somewhere deep within, the fire was rekindling. And just when that longing began to whisper, loud enough to be heard, there came a knock. Sauber asked Mercedes if he could use their state-of-the-art wind tunnel for aerodynamic testing. The engineers, impressed by Sauber's vision and technical curiosity, agreed, and this opened the door to deeper conversation about racing potential. Shortly after those wind tunnel tests, Sauber secured an exclusive deal with Mercedes to use their new 5-litre V8. Sauber's engine expert Heini Maeder transformed it into a Group C race engine with turbos. This partnership started quietly. Mercedes, despite longing for the return desperately, listed themselves as an engine supplier only, remaining low profile given their history after the 1955 disaster. Their twin-turbo V8 provided the power Sauber's chassis needed, balancing outright pace and reliability for endurance racing. In 1985, Sauber was back with C8, equipped with Mercedes' heart. This marked Mercedes' quiet return to top-tier racing after a 30-year hiatus. It made its debut at Le Mans but flipped during practice and was withdrawn from the race, signaling a rocky start. The following year, with sponsorship from Yves Saint Laurent's fragrance brand Kouros, the team was rebranded as Kouros Racing. The 86 season saw some progress, including finishes inside the top 10 at Monza and Silverstone, although Le Mans proved challenging again. The breakthrough came at the Nürburgring 1000 km, where drivers Henry Pescarolo and Mike Thackwell secured Sauber's first Group C victory, proving the partnership's promise. But it was not enough. C8's chassis wasn't weak, it was a sturdy workhorse after all, the foundation laid by a small but fiercely determined team. Yet, in the challenging world of Group C, where every kilogram shaved and every curve refined could decide between victory and defeat, the C8's chassis was like an old soldier, holding the line but yearning for reinforcements. Built on the foundation of C8 and wearing a Kouros livery, Sauber C9 debuted in 1987 season, phasing out C8 and bidding it a farewell. Its birth was supposed to change the racing with improved chassis and aerodynamics, but it was not ready to take on the big guys yet. It did not enjoy a lot of success in its first season, finishing only in 3 races. Early C9 models used a version of Mercedes V8 similar to that in the C8, producing about 650 to 700 horsepower. The engine was potent, but less refined as it ran at higher stresses and higher RPMs. This initial setup was less balanced in terms of reliability and weight optimization, scoring points in only a few events and finishing 12th in the team standings. Notably, the drivers made the car competitive despite early issues. At this point, Mercedes has seen the potential of this partnership, and it was about time that the Silver Arrows would return to the battlefield, not as a supplier, but as a constructor. By 1988, Kuro's sponsorship ended, and Mercedes decided to take full ownership of the factory program, rebranding the team as Sauber Mercedes and the Silver Arrow's glorious return. The C9 was significantly reinforced with lighter aluminum monocoque chassis paired with improved aerodynamic design and weight reduction measures. These upgrades allowed it to be more agile, more stable at high speeds, and better suited to endure the harshness of endurance racing. With the new 5-liter V8, C9 produced 820 horsepower at a relatively low 7,000 rpm. This lower redline meant less stress on engine components, dramatically enhancing endurance and reliability for long-distance racing. With only 905 kg, the car was blowing off the power-to-weight ratio. It was not just a car, it was Bullet, a silver bullet. They managed to finish second in the championship behind the Jaguar XJR9 with 5 wins for the season. Unfortunately, at Le Mans, the team suffered a major setback when they withdrew due to a high-speed tire blowout during qualifying and serious concerns about the safety and reliability of their Michelin tires. For Mercedes, the scene must have stirred a ghost from the past, a painful echo of 1955. The fear, the responsibility, the weight of legacy, all of it came rushing back. And in that moment, the message was clear. No glory was worth risking the lives of those on the tracks. Sometimes, in the pursuit of greatness, survival must come first. They refined the C9 for the next season, and it was going to be the third time when C9 was about to enter the crown jewel of racing. And that was it. For 1989, C9 dominated the championship. During qualifying at 24 Hours of Le Mans, it reached an astonishing top speed of 400 km per hour on the Mulsanne Straight, becoming the second fastest Group C car to ever hit that mark, just behind the Peugeot WM-P88. These breathtaking speeds were so extreme that they led to the introduction of 2 chicanes on the Mulsanne Straight starting in 1990. From winning just 3 races early in its career to conquering nearly every circuit it entered, the C9 was more than a machine. It was a statement that Mercedes was back, that the Silver Arrows had risen again. Though the collaboration between Sauber and Mercedes ended after this historic win, and both teams went their separate ways. However, it was this partnership, this meeting of courage and conviction, that made one of motorsport's greatest comebacks possible. This tale of true teamwork tells us that some wound, no matter how deep, can heal. Some celebrations can begin again.